gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded, episode 29 on the block. I am your host, Eric. Main man over there. Oh, wrong way this time. Main man over there, Ron. How are you?
Doing okay.
Yeah, I don't. We got things
Wrong
going everywhere.
turn, at Albuquerque kind of thing.
You know what, though? Because we've got so much to talk about in the sports world, so much to unfold that I'm all confused. I got so much on my brain right now.
So if you've seen Elvis, then you would have been all shook up.
I'm all shook up. Yeah, exactly. And we're going to start off with our leadoff story. And that's going to be James Harden, who signed the 2-year, $68.6 million contract to remain with the Philadelphia 76ers. How would you grade this signing?
Well, it depends on which James Harden you get. Do you get the James Harden when he was in Houston, or do you get the James Harden since?
No, and look, it's a great question, but I honestly, as the more I think about this, what a great signing for the 76ers. So he took less money. He turned down $47.4 million, which ultimately allows them to continue to get some players. Bless you. And then it also he can become a free agent next season. So the fact that he should play harder, ultimately, because it can help him get paid. I think that's such a good scenario for both sides. Look, if I play and I'm motivated and I play hard, I can opt out of my contract, make more money. Ultimately, we get to build a team this year to see how far we can go. We criticize athletes all the time about not wanting to win. It's all about the money, right? For the first time, you're starting to see athletes take less money, but to go to try to get a winning situation. Yes, it's still a lot of money. I'm not downplaying the amount of money, but he did also leave $13 million on the table. He could have signed it and just sat the bench, whatever. He's still getting that $47 million. But he's trying to win. He's trying to help the organization. And then ultimately, look, it forces him to play harder.
I mean, I guess you can look at it that way. I don't know. Because if he would have bounced, off of this team, he probably wouldn't make nearly as much, because I don't think the teams are going to line up to pay him that much money. I don't think the teams are going to line up to do that.
No, again, it was a player option. He could have stayed and made $47 million.
Right, he could have. Yes, that's what I'm saying. But, I mean, it is, I guess, good that he did that, because they really had no chance to get players if he didn't.
If he signed that, yeah, right. Yeah. So you get Embiid, you get Harden, hopefully a motivated Harden. Listen, the East is tough, but we forget. Look, he averaged 21 points, 10.5 assists, and 7.1 rebounds when he got to Philadelphia now. So, and he shot less because he took less shots because of, Embiid. Yep. So his numbers dropped a little bit, but you're still looking at a guy that's a double-double. He's averaging 21 points and 10 assists a game.
And it's still good.
And we make it sound like he's
still better than most players. Like, I'm not questioning his skill. But what you do have to do is question whether he has anything really left in the tank. That's the question right now. It's like, can he give you that?
And that's
those
why
numbers.
Yeah, and that's why I think he signed this contract this way, because I think he's trying to motivate himself as well.
Yeah.
I think we're starting to see a different James Harden. Again, most of these players would have just said, "Give me my 47 million, right, and I'm set. I'm good."
He
Almost 50
also is
million.
probably Eric. He's probably realizing that he might not have another chance.
Exactly. Right. So you signed for a little less. Look, you get the player option next year. If you don't play that well, you get your 38 million or whatever it is for next season. After that, it's who knows.
Yeah.
But if you play well, you stay motivated, you get this team, let's just say, to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now all of a sudden your value went way up again, and now you might be able to get that 45, $50 million a year contract. I think it's a win-win for both sides.
Yeah, I mean, when you look around the league, there's quite a few really good teams out there, but that's just what it is. There's a lot of really good teams. There's no great team, and I know a lot of the teams in the East were looking at that finals with the Celtics and Golden State, and they seen how bad the Celtics played in that series with the turnovers, and said, "Wow, if we just limit turnovers against this team, we could win." And that's basically what it is.
Yeah. OMG, Jim Boy, thanks for joining. Great point. Again, it's not about talent sometimes. It's more about the heart and willingness to dedicate themselves to their team, to their game. And I feel like this move to me was showing a dedication on his part to say, look, I'm willing to take less so we can get players so that we can go further and advance in the playoffs. It's more about winning. This move to me, was more about him wanting to win than him just taking the money and running.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not a huge James Harden fan.
No,
I don't think either
but
one of us
I mean,
are. But I gained more respect for him for this move.
yeah, it's a step in the right direction. It's a step in the right direction.
So now he has to produce on the court.
Now he has to produce on the court.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk about another gentleman who got paid, and we're going to go into some NFL now. Kyler Murray. And Kyler Murray signed an extension to remain with the Arizona Cardinals for 5 more seasons, $230.5 million over those 5 years, $160 million guaranteed, $105 million upfront just for signing the contract.
Yeah.
Do you agree with the contract extension?
Well, I can understand their thinking on it. I'm a little skeptical he's worth that much.
He's praying to the gods right now, as you can see. He's doing the Baby Yoda there. So
yeah, well,
whatever Jedi he used, mind trick.
Now he's gotta use that to try to get some wins at the end of the season, because he was terrible going down the stretch.
Yeah, I think it's a horrible contract. I understand why they did it. They stay relevant with Kyler Murray. But when you start to look at the average salary, he's the second highest paid quarterback now in the league.
Yeah, and that's just insane.
His team went what? He went 9-5 last season. They lost in the first round of the playoffs. Yeah. 8-8 the season before, 5-10-1 his first year.
Yeah.
He's 22-23 overall.
Yep.
11,000 yards, 70 touchdowns, 30. He's got decent numbers. But the guys, listen to the guys now that he's other than Aaron Rodgers, who's making $50 million, we can at least say won a Super Bowl. Deshaun Watson is tied with him, 46 million. What is Deshaun Watson won? 0. Patrick Mahomes, $45 million. He's making more than Patrick Mahomes, who's been to 2 Super Bowls and won one.
Yeah. Travesty.
This is where the problem, and this is where now I'm going to get fired up, and we're probably going to get in trouble for this one. And I told you.
Look, Eric, it's like I know where you're coming from. Like, first of all, he walks into the office, and I'm like, have you won a Super Bowl yet? No, then you can't get paid more than anybody that's got a Super Bowl. Period.
The problem today is participation awards.
Yeah.
Everybody gets an award, a trophy. Thanks for trying. Thanks for playing. Thanks for right. These contracts now are the same thing. Well, thanks for winning a game. Thanks for us being over 500. Not for getting us to a Super Bowl. Not for at least getting to those points. We're not even seeing that anymore. Deshaun Watson hasn't played in 2 years. Is the second highest paid quarterback. How does that make any sense?
Yeah. No, like it doesn't make any sense, and I don't know. I don't know why the teams are like really caving in like this. This is just silly. I can understand it. Look, you got Baltimore that has to worry about Lamar Jackson. At least he's won an MVP.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Like I think he's probably he has to make more than Kyler Murray.
Yeah, and that contract, you don't think he's just sitting there waiting to see how much Kyler Murray got? He's
Right.
going to be 48 million a year, so he goes ahead of him.
Yep.
All it is a competition now on who can make more, but it's not based on what you're doing on the field.
And
And
all of this, Eric, it doesn't matter because the smartest one of all is Tom Brady that
took less
always
money
takes less so he can get his team stacked.
to try to
And
win
this
the
is
Super Bowl.
how he wins. This is how he wins, multiple Super Bowls, and these guys struggle to get one.
He also goes into a season now, Kyler Murray. They lost Chandler Jones in free agency to the Raiders.
Yep.
DeAndre Hopkins suspended for the first 6 games.
Yep.
You better earn this money because you're carrying this team.
Oh, absolutely.
You're carrying this team now. It's on you. And sometimes these guys, they want all the money, but they don't want all the pressure. And then they get upset
Absolutely.
when people come at them for not performing. Well, that comes with that price tag. You're getting $230 million. It's because they're expecting you to perform and at least get this team to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Getting to the playoffs, losing in the first round is not going to justify you getting that much money a year.
1947.
1947.
Yeah.
Is that the last
Cardinals.
time they went to the Super Bowl? Oh, or won one?
Won anything. Won
They,
anything.
they lost that year to the Steelers.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, after that, they haven't been relevant. No, look, good for him, gets his money, but at the same time, they handicap these teams afterwards where you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Why is Tyreek Hill on the Miami Dolphins? Because you pay Patrick Mahomes almost $50 million a year, the quarterback. You can't pay everybody. Eventually, guys, you're going to leave. You're not going to be as successful. Let's talk about another quarterback here. Jimmy Garoppolo has been granted permission by the 49ers to seek a trade.
Yeah, that's because they can't find one.
Yeah, well, he finally, after
Because
the surgery
everybody
now,
knows they're gonna end up releasing him.
he could
So
stop
everybody
practicing.
knows.
$24 million a year. That's going to be some of the holding ground up on this. Do
Yeah,
you
nobody's
feel
gonna
like
trade?
is there a team that's a good fit for him?
Yeah, Seattle, but they can't trade with them.
They don't have this. They don't have the cap space.
Oh, they'll get
They're
over
way.
it.
They are way. They got like $5
Really?
million dollars.
Yeah, but it's football, so they can work something out.
So the crazy thing, you want to know the team that has the most cap space right now in the NFL? Cleveland Browns. They just signed Josh Rosen. Makes no sense to me. To me, go after Jimmy G with all the talent you have. At least it's upgrade. You know Deshaun Watson's getting
I
suspended.
think San Francisco is a fool. Like that organization is a fool.
So they're going to be looking for draft picks. Here's where Cleveland comes out of the mix, though, too, because Cleveland, to get Deshaun Watson, basically gave up the next 3 years of first-round draft picks.
Yeah.
So that'd be a tricky one. The Falcons have been mentioned.
Yeah.
Makes no sense to me. They're in a rebuild.
Yeah.
Why even do it? It wouldn't make sense. The Bears, I kind of like that. Fields struggles. You got a coach that could get fired in Nagy.
Nope.
You get a guy that might be able to help you win. I'm just saying, okay,
Nope.
Here's my surprise team. Are you ready? I got a lot of these today. My surprise team right now, if I am on the phone, if I'm this team right now and I'm calling them, Miami Dolphins.
I like that.
Right? We don't know Tua Tagovailoa, his status, how good he's going to be, what he's going to be. And Mike McDonald, hired as the head coach, former OC, San Francisco 49ers. Who knows that system better than Jimmy G at this point?
I know.
That makes so much sense to me. Not that I want to see it as a Patriot fan, but it makes sense. If I'm Miami right now, I am picking up the phone and saying, what do I need to do to get this guy? And they're about 18 million under the cap, so they might have to do a little maneuvering. But San Fran maybe picks up $6-7 million of that contract.
That's all fine, but nobody's going to trade for him. So get that out of your head, because they're all going to wait for him to get cut. They're all going to wait. And then it'll be a feeding frenzy.
Financially, yeah. But then San Francisco, all that dead money. I mean, that's a lot of money to give.
Yeah, well, they want Trey Lance. I just don't understand it. Look, all Jimmy G does is win. Yes, he's not the most talented quarterback in the league, but he is above average in my opinion.
He's a proven winner. He's won more games than Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
He's got a better win percentage.
He's also got a better record in the playoffs too.
Yeah, he's made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So, I just honestly don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Jim Boy, Tua turn the ball over is going to struggle trying to throw deep to Tyreek next year.
Oh, my God. That's his name.
That is great, Jim.
Tua turn the ball over.
Hey, that works. I mean, if you say it fast enough, Tua turn the ball over. That is really good. That was a good one. But I'm going to tell you, if I'm Miami, I'm making phone calls. And I'm trying to figure out how much is San Francisco willing to pay. Look, if I have to pay 10, 12 million, half of his salary, and I'm not taking a full salary cap hit of 24 million by cutting him, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So,
and you got to wonder a couple of other teams out there, because if you're talking Miami, why not the Jets? I know they have Wilson, but we all know.
And that's why I'm saying this. The Bears one is an interesting one as well, because Justin Fields, we just don't know yet.
Yeah, but
that situation is.
But see, I don't see Jimmy G going to Chicago just to be in another quarterback thing. And I think it would probably be a safer bet in Miami, because I really don't think Tua is talented.
Yeah, listen, we're saying right now that's the biggest knock on Miami. Miami's picked up all this talent. A, rookie head coach. B, your quarterback.
Yeah, but I still like him in Seattle. He would have to be cut, of course.
Yeah.
In order for that to happen.
Excuse me.
And then he'd sign. Yeah. With Seattle, because who wouldn't want those receivers?
Yeah, and that's listen. If he gets cut, there's probably 20 teams that are.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree with you there. If it's on the current contract and they're trying to trade, because San Fran needs to get some draft picks back too. Remember, you said it. Trey Lance cost them a lot.
Oh, I know.
So,
but they're not going to get it. They're not going to get it.
It's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. Kyle Rudolph just signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do you think this is a replacement or a good replacement for Rob Gronkowski, who announced his retirement?
Well, with Rudolph there, they certainly won't get stuck, grounded through the snowstorms, because his nose will get him through. And I got to believe that his talent will get them through the season without Gronk, because they still have some talent at tight end that was already there, I mean, come on. Like, this is going to be still a talented tight end position at Tampa Bay. It's still going to be good.
Yeah. Brate's one of the, again, did very well with Tom last year. And I looked at it this way with Rudolph, 26 receptions last year, 257 yards and a touchdown. But his quarterback was Daniel Jones. And we know the Giants' offense was just a train wreck. He only had 39 targets last season.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to put up numbers. Gronkowski last year, 89 targets, 55 receptions, 802 yards, 6 touchdowns. I could see Rudolph, if he gets 89 targets, in that same vicinity when it comes to production. Yeah. So, good move for Tampa Bay.
Good move. Yeah, it is a good move. Right?
because again, what do you got to lose?
It's insurance.
Yeah, how much Tom Brady gets lucky all the time.
He
It's
does.
not fair. It's not fair.
It was certainly fair when he was in New England.
It's a different day. That don't count. You can't count that now.
Well, it was fair.
But we like the move. All right, my friend. Triple play time.
Oh,
You are first this week.
I am first.
You are first. So we are deciding who we're going to start, bench, and cut from the current Major League hit leaders. And those players are Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner, and Paul Goldschmidt. And before we even start, isn't it kind of ironic? Two of the teams are from LA, the Dodgers, which is kind of amazing to think they have two of the top hit leaders in all of Major League Baseball right now. Yeah, agree. Ray is underrated, Jim Boy. And I think that it is a very good duo for the two of them. I think it's going to be a good fit. I think Tampa Bay nailed that one.
It's going to be like that New England duo they
Double
had
tight end?
once. Yeah, that.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
All right, so you were deciding, Ron, who we starting, benching, and cutting of those three players: Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner, Paul Goldschmidt. Triple play.
Okay, so you know how I always value championships.
Oh boy, do I ever? Do I ever? No.
I got to tell you, that goes out the window today. Because out of these three guys, I am taking Paul Goldschmidt, who's
Okay.
the only one that hasn't won a championship.
Let's see that. Look at you. Okay.
Okay, so you start off with the 1,600 plus hits, 295 career average,
Right. Great.
300 home runs, the only one of the three to get to that mark. He also has less at-bats than Freeman. And his WAR is 55.4, which is actually pretty damn good. I do have to say, the best of the three.
Look at you bringing Warren.
So, 4 Gold Gloves, which gotta love defense too. 7-time All-Star, 4-time Silver Slugger. This guy is just the model of consistency. Every year, it seems like he puts up the same numbers, and I will take that over anybody, pretty much almost anybody in the league at this point. You know, there's maybe 5 to 6 guys that may be better, maybe
I can see it.
not as consistent as this. So I would start Goldschmidt. I am benching Freeman. He's got a 297 average, so only 2 points higher than Goldschmidt. But he's got almost 130 more at bats than Goldschmidt. 285 home runs, so he has 15 less, but he has a ton more, at bats. His WAR is 47, just to let you know, so it was a little under, not tremendously under. So 1 Gold Glove, 6-time All-Star, 3 Silver Sluggers, but he does have a World Series last year. So he got it when he was 31.
Mm-hmm.
Goldschmidt is only 29. So he's got a couple more years to get that World Series.
Okay.
And then I'm cutting Turner. I wouldn't want to, because the guy can hit. I mean, he's got like 2,000 less at bats than Freeman.
Yep.
But his average is 303, 117 home runs, 28.1 WAR. It's much further down, but he's also played a lot less years, so there's a lot of time for that to go up. But he's not really a home run hitter. He's more of a table setter. So,
Agreed.
like, he's a great hitter. Like 303 lifetime hitter.
Very
So
good.
he's going to hit. And it was appalling to me that all those all-stars in that game the other day, and I'm seeing batting averages at 230, 225. I'm like,
Yeah, the
what
league
is
is wrong.
wrong with this?
It's the way the league is, man. It's crazy.
So he's only a 2-time all-star. And he's won a batting title, but he hasn't been around very long. So that's actually pretty good. And he's won a World Series. Being out there
In the Dodgerland.
in Dodgerland. Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah.
You're wrong, but not bad. Did
I'm
pretty
not
good.
wrong. I'm not wrong.
So I agree with Paul Goldschmidt. 330 currently this season, 112 hits, 20 home runs, 70 RBIs. 12 seasons in the major leagues, 295 batting average, 1,684 hits. So he's a pure hitter. Phenomenal numbers. Here's where you're wrong. I benched Trey Turner. Trey Turner's only been in the league 8 years.
Yeah.
303 lifetime batting average, 952 hits. He's going to hit over 1,000 this season. I just like the fact he's bats over 300 lifetime.
Oh yeah,
in 8 seasons.
that was the question, was whether or not he was going to be second or.
And I bench Freeman. I cut Freeman, but again, the same thing to you. Like, I wouldn't want to, but if I had to, and of course the name of the game, right? Start bench cut. So Freeman was my odd man out.
Yeah,
and again,
I can see that. No, I can see that. I don't consider either of us wrong on this because, you're taking something of value with Turner and thinking, he's going to get on base. And then Paul Goldschmidt knocks him in.
Yeah.
Basically is what we're saying. So
I love the fact you brought it up, right? These guys are batting over 300.
And I think one of these three guys, well, at least one of them is going to win a World Series this year.
One of them should.
You think?
Could win, yes.
I mean,
we'll discuss why maybe after.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll leave it up there. We'll leave the carrot dangling right now. Let's talk some NBA, my friend. I know we already talked about the James Harden, but let's talk about the Golden State Warriors owner, Joe LaCob. He was fined $500,000 for criticizing the NBA rules with the luxury tax. Do you think he has a fair argument?
I don't know.
I'm going to read some numbers to you, and then you let me know.
Okay, you read the numbers.
Okay. So the current salary cap, $136.6 million. Okay. Golden State Warriors current payroll, $175 million.
Yeah.
So they're about $40 million over the cap, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what their luxury tax is going to be this season?
Shoot.
$170 million.
Yeah.
So basically what their payroll is what their tax is going to be. Yeah. So his biggest gripe is, look, it seems more excessive than it needs to be. And I'm not saying that he's wrong. I think he may be right on this because as I started to look, Brooklyn Nets are going to pay $97 million. Again, try to get talent, trying to win. The Clippers, and Ballman is the owner of the Clippers. That guy will spend money, it don't matter. But $83 million is his tax. The Milwaukee Bucks, $53 million. The Lakers, $45 million. The Jazz, which surprised me, $18 million. They're over the cap right now, the Jazz. I think once they trade Mitchell, they'll be all set there. And then the Philadelphia 76ers right now, $13 million is going to be their luxury tax. But $170 million. The problem with the Golden State Warriors, you got 4 max contract guys: Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Andrew Wiggins. But you can also say, look, in 3 years, since 2015, you've won 3 championships.
So where does the money go?
You know what? I meant to look that up and I didn't because I'm kind of curious. Does the NBA keep that money? Right? Like, that's insane. That's an insane amount of money. But all those teams I just mentioned are over the cap. Everybody else in the league is under. So you're talking 7 teams are over the cap. But that's a good amount of money.
See, the whole problem. See, it's just too easy for the big teams to, do whatever they want. That's too easy. It's too easy. It's so it's whichever team wants to spend the money is really going to get the championships. That's basically what we're saying. And it's no different than baseball, really. It
Yeah.
really isn't, because it's really
Baseball don't
not
have
a
the cap.
cap.
Yeah,
It's
so
just whether
exactly.
or not
So
you want to spend.
yeah, but that's what I think. That's where you got to start to. And again, they do have a luxury tax in Major League Baseball. I don't believe it's as high as this. But if you want to win, you're going to have to spend the money. And I think, but you're running a business as well. The Boston Celtics are under the cap, made it to the finals, didn't win it. But I think from a business standpoint, they were trying to say, look, we're going to make sure that we're maximizing exactly what we're getting from a business standpoint. When does it become business and when does it become more important about championships?
Yeah.
That's where you got a question. But basically, the same amount you're paying on a payroll, if your payroll is 175, the tax shouldn't be 170. Like, I don't understand where they're getting that number from. That's
Yeah. I guess it
that's a little
depends on
excessive.
how much you're going over. So there's a bigger penalty for going over more.
All right, so you're 40
Look,
million
I
over the
don't
cap.
know.
40
I don't
million over the
know.
cap. You're basically 4 times the amount you're paying in tax. That's a little excessive.
Yeah.
I don't know. And again, I think we'll have to look into where the money goes because that might be the most important part of this.
Look, the salaries in sports are just getting out of hand.
They are.
And who pays for it? The fans do. The
We put up.
fans pay
I
for
sent you
it.
guys. I
And
sent you
I
that
know.
graphic about the tickets for the
Look,
4
I
tickets.
get it. I get it. But enough's enough. Like like these salaries are just getting ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry, there is no player out there worth $50 million a year for any sport. I don't care what you do. It is a sport. You shouldn't be making $50 million a year.
But how
How
much?
about let's cap this already? Like, this is
How
just
much money?
ridiculous.
Yeah, but again, how much money do these players make for those owners, for those organizations?
Right, I get that.
That's
But
where all these sponsors that pay them, Nike and Gatorade,
yes,
and how much money do they
yes,
make for those
yeah.
organizations? And nobody says they
Oh,
got
I
to
know
cap
that.
that or make a limit on how much they can
Well,
make.
this is what they have to do. They have to get this under control because it's getting way too out of hand. It's way too out of hand, and now it's at the point where the average person can't even go to a game.
Yeah, and I sent you this week. Was it 4 tickets, like 4 hot dogs, 2 beers, 2 sodas, and parking?
Yeah,
And it was like $300 something
yeah,
to go to a Red Sox game. They were like the highest
yeah,
franchise, and then there was like the Cubs who have stunk for how
yeah.
long? They won 1 championship
Yep.
in the last 170 plus years, and they were the second highest.
Yeah.
Right? Like how's that make sense?
It doesn't make none of this makes sense.
Right? No,
None of it makes sense anymore. It doesn't make sense.
I don't get it. Let's talk some baseball, my friend. And we're going to bring up the home run derby champion. That's Juan Soto, who is looking more and more like he's going to be traded by the Washington Nationals. What do you think would be a likely landing spot or a good landing spot for Juan Soto? I know you're not going to want to say the teams, but 2 of them obviously are already number 1 seeds currently in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. Like, who can afford them, really? I mean, that's what it comes down to, because everybody knows he just turned down a massive
deal, 15-year, it's 440 million. But again, do you take a chance and pick him up now and hope to sign him, and you keep him under his current contract, and then maybe lose him in free agency?
The obvious would be New York, and Los Angeles.
Yep.
Those are the obvious.
Which are all teams that are currently in contention for him.
Yeah.
To me, the Yankees make the most sense, not because I'm a Yankee fan, but there is a more and more feeling that Aaron Judge is going to leave, and you're going to
where? And go where? Like, where's he going to go?
He's not going to re-sign with the New York Yankees.
I'm just saying, where's he going to go? He's going to get, a boatload of money, and who's going to pay it? Who wants to pay these salaries?
Some of these teams at the target. So the Dodgers may decide to pick him up.
They're not going to if they get Soto.
The Giants have been a team willing to spend money. They're talking about Soto And if they don't get Soto this season, maybe they go after Aaron Judge next season. There's going to be, and as crazy as it sounds, you'd have to consider the Boston Red Sox an option for Aaron Judge.
Oh, they're going to put their hat in the ring.
Without a doubt. They're going to let Devers walk, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But if you can replace, again, Devers with Judge, from an offensive standpoint, production-wise, makes sense. But to me, the New York Yankees have to pull the trigger on this.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's the same thing. It's money. It's this is why the NHL has. I think they got it right. It's a hard cap. It's a hard cap. And you can only spend so much, and that's every team. And they also have a minimum as well. So you have to spend at least, a certain amount. But with baseball, it's like, it's just the rich are going to get richer.
Pretty much.
It's like, you look at teams like Milwaukee and stuff like that. They have to do it by keeping their young players at least one contract through.
That homegrown talent.
Yeah.
They're built through the majors. Sometimes, too, these trades can help you for a year or two until these guys ultimately decide to go somewhere and get paid.
Right. So, I mean, if they have a contract for, say, 5 years, it gives them a 5-year window where they can try to get competitive. But if they start getting competitive at that 5th year, but that 5th year the player blows up, then they lose that player and they have to start all over again. And that's that's the thing with a Milwaukee, St. Louis, and those kind of markets.
I wouldn't even say those teams are usually at least in the middle of the ground. A great example of that, Ron, the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
They all of a sudden, all those young guys came together at the same time. They make it to the World Series. What happens?
Yeah.
Gone.
Because they were all free agents at the end of that year.
And now look at them.
Yeah.
The Royals are at the bottom of the barrel again.
It's just, that's how it is with all these teams. It's just they can't stay competitive. Like Cleveland, Minnesota, they're all right now. Cleveland and Minnesota are at the top end of that spectrum because all those players are now up and they're performing and they're having some success. They're having success because Chicago is not. And that is why they're having success. But again, at the end of the season, when it comes time and they have to lose some of these players, that's what's going to happen. And this is, and then they're going to rebuild. This is their shot.
So let me ask you this: is there a way that Soto does not get traded before the deadline? Just in your opinion,
I doubt he's going to get traded.
Right, just makes at this point. I think. Do you realize too the team didn't charter a plane back for him after winning the Derby? Like there's some animosity there between the team now and the player.
Because what they offered him was basically to be the second highest paid player.
Yeah,
and he turned that down.
But we're criticizing him too. What are the Nationals really their outlook for the next 4 or 5 years? Let's just say
not good.
So maybe it's just a point he's tired of losing. He's 23. You're going to look. How long do you want to go before you say, "Look, I want to taste a championship"?
Yeah, but you see, how long has he been in the league? A couple of years. So he has no gripe. I'm sorry.
He's more about winning. He wants to win.
This is pretty much selfishness on his part.
Wow.
I'm sorry. That's what it comes down to.
He wants to win.
But you know what? Pay your dues first. Try to get your team to win first.
The ownership, they keep getting rid of all their players.
That's because of their situation last year. That's what happened. The team fell apart. So
they traded everybody.
So they traded people. That's what you do.
So you're on a rebuild for the next 3 to 4 years, but just take the money and basically play on a crappy team.
3 to 4 years. His contract is up 3 years. So when his contract is up, then you say, hey, you know what? I don't know if I want to stay.
And then that just looks like Kevin Durant running every time things get – it's no better.
But he still has 3 years on his contract, Eric. This is just bogus. It's bogus. You
He
know,
is going
he
and
look.
he's coming to New
Thi-
York.
This team has been down 1 year. 1 year. Like you can't get
Yeah, what
on
they won a
Washington for
series
the
like 3
rebuild
years
for
ago or
1 year.
something. Yeah,
No, they were
didn't
good
and
2 years ago.
he was there. He was in the World Series.
Yeah, but he wasn't
No, but he
the
was a player of
focal
the World
point.
Series. Yes.
He wasn't the focal point.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. So he can't even he knows what it feels like. That's crazy. Now that you said that, that's a good point. Soto come to New York. Anyway, let's talk a little bit more about this Major League Baseball season as it's the midway point after the All-Star break. Do you have any surprises, some disappointments, some shocking things that you've seen so far this season?
Yeah, the fact that the Chicago White Sox stink and
Yeah,
the Los
I got them
Angeles
as a
Angels
disappointment.
are really bad.
Yeah, which we didn't know what was going to happen with them, right? So,
Yeah.
okay.
Those are the disappointments.
Yeah.
Surprises has to be Baltimore. They actually have a 500 record right now. As
I
we
got
speak.
Baltimore as my right, 46 and 46. Who expected that?
There is no disappointment or surprise in the National League.
Yeah, it seemed pretty where it should be.
Where they are is where they are.
Kind of, right? I kind of said like Milwaukee, St. Louis, we figured would battle it out. That's where
Yep.
they're at, 2.5 games. So you could see that, right? It's kind
Yep.
of the National League was really the only thing I had as a disappointment with the West, I thought was going to be tighter. The Tatis Jr. injury, but I also look the Giants last year basically finished 1 game less than. So I expected a better race there.
Yeah, well, not me. I didn't really expect a race there. I thought San Diego would be, a little better, but with the injury, the biggest surprise though has to be Matt Carpenter.
Okay.
Like raking Matt Carpenter, 1 home run for every 6.1 at bats.
Yeah, it's insane, right?
Like that's craziness.
And the fact that look, you look at his last 2 years with St. Louis, not very good. Look, it looked like he was done. Like his career is over.
Yeah.
And just talk about re-energized.
He couldn't make the Texas Rangers team.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Really? So it kind of makes you wonder.
Here we go with this conspiracy
Just
theory.
saying.
I can't with you on that.
It looks ugly.
Okay. I got a couple more surprises. The fact that the Yankees 12 games up in the East, did not expect that. I mean, the East is usually one of the toughest divisions. Justin Verlander leading the major leagues, 12 wins.
I'm not surprised.
Again, Tommy John surgery, where he was, he came back. He looks better than ever.
Yeah.
Couple disappointments as well. As a team, and I know they weren't supposed to be very good, but as a team, the Oakland A's are batting 211.
Oh, I knew they were going to
211.
stink. They stink.
Ron, 211.
They stink.
As a team.
Yeah, but some of them were in the All-Star game.
Like, come on. Like, that's just atrocious. How about the Detroit Tigers, too? 54 home runs as a team.
See, now I said they were going to stink this year, and everybody had them, like, making playoffs and stuff like that. Like, what? Are
Some
you
of the
out of
moves
your
they
mind?
made, you would think, Carrera, right? No, he went to Minnesota. Who'd they sign? They signed one of the shortstops, though.
Yeah.
But the kid from the Mets.
Yeah.
But I just 54 home runs. You think about the long ball era, like that's what we're in. I mean, the Yankees, Aaron Judge, 34 home runs. He almost got as many home runs as the whole team.
Yeah.
It's insane. So I know you wanted to talk a little bit more about some potential trades that could be coming down the pike with the trade deadline coming up, but it's about 2 weeks away.
Yeah, I mean, there's some names out there that I think are ripe for the pickings. When you look at the standings, so you would see that Arizona, not very good. And they got some guys that they might want to shed, like Dallas Keuchel.
Actually, he just got cut, I think. I think they cut him.
Did they really?
Yeah, I think I don't think, Keuchel's, they brought him down for assignment, and he didn't do well there either. I think he's not even on the team.
Oh, well, that would make sense then. So...
Keuchel out. Let's just not.
Keuchel out. Okay, so Chicago Cubs. You know, the Cubbies are going to
Yeah.
shed some salaries. I wouldn't be surprised to see Wade Miley get some interest.
Yeah.
He's making $10 million last year in a contract. They'll probably want to ship him out.
Yeah.
And then re-sign him next year and then ship him out again. Wilson Contreras, the catcher.
Yep.
$9.6 million. You know, he's 30 years old. They might want to see what they can get for him. And then you look in Colorado. Colorado's not very good. They were supposed to be a decent team. They started out pretty well. But guy that always gets picked up at trade deadlines, Jose Iglesias is there. You know,
No relation to
shortstop.
Julio, right?
No
relation
relationship to Julio, but he always gets picked up at the deadline by somebody. But there's Charlie Blackman, who's DHing this year. He's 36, a little long in the tooth now, making $18.3 million a year. I think Colorado is going to want to move him.
Yeah. So again, try to get a piece if you need a bat. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Kansas City always in the market to trade away their free
year.
agents.
Every year.
Zach Greinke.
I'd be surprised on that one.
He probably has a no trade clause, so he probably doesn't want to go anywhere. But keep that one in mind because everybody seems to always want him. Like Houston.
Please no. But anyway.
Andrew Benintendi is the guy.
Yeah, I've heard his name a lot. Yeah.
You know, everybody was talking about Benintendi until Soto got put on the market.
Yeah, he was definitely rumored to be, New York was highly looking at him, and then the Soto thing happened. So
yeah, so that one, that could be the guy that actually ends up in New York.
No, I like that.
Interesting, Miami, who's actually put, a pretty decent season together, especially in that division. Jorge Soler, who's 30 years old, he's getting paid $15 million this year. So that might be something that Miami wants to trade to get a piece or two or three. So I think that would be a definite. And Washington, of course.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to go all the way. And I think Josh Bell will also be gone. 30-year-old first baseman making $10 million.
Which makes sense for them.
Yeah.
If you lose Soto, you might as well just try to do this thing right from this.
So, and then there's Oakland, who, to me, really doesn't have anything enticing.
211 team batting average.
Yeah.
Not very
but good. Steven Piscotty, right fielder, he might draw some
like a nice Piscotty with a T.
To come off the bench, a nice, that could be somebody like maybe Houston might be interested in, to come off the bench, somebody like the Braves who want insurance for, their big star.
And you're going to see teams that, like we talked about, at a tight, the Milwaukee's, St. Louis, those teams that are kind of in a race right now.
Those are the teams that are going to want guys like Piscotty.
Yeah.
So, and then the interesting team that I find, because they were supposed to be contending out west, Noah Syndergaard.
Ooh.
He is making $21 million this year. I think LA probably would want to move him because they are out of it. They got 39 wins right now. They're out of it. And then there's Michael Lorenzen. But if they move Syndergaard, they probably won't move Lorenzen because he's also a starting pitcher. But it's potentially that he could go, but I doubt it. I think Syndergaard is the guy that's going to be gone there. But both could be, enticing. Lorenzen to put in the bullpen for long relief. That could be something that a team would be interested in. So, yeah, that's what I look at.
No, that's great. Great insight, Ron. Great insight. And look, we know pitching's so crucial in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, again, to your point, if these teams are out and they're really trying to make a move, you could see a lot more pitching move. Yeah. That's usually what you'll see. But, yeah, about 2 weeks.
And I think
August 2nd, 3rd.
borderline Michael Pineda of Detroit.
Yeah.
Like, I could see some teams being interested in him as well, but I mean,
And
I
again,
think that might be a long shot because he's not really getting paid that much. So I don't think Detroit is really,
if you're
caring.
trying to shore up your rotation, knowing you're going to
Yeah.
the playoffs, usually you shorten the rotation. It's a 3 to 4 man rotation.
Right.
Now you need long relievers. You need guys just in case. So no, great points, man. We'll have to keep our eyes on that. Great segment there. Appreciate that. It is face-off time.
Face off.
And Manny Haribo just hosted stream for 4 viewers. Oh, thank you, Manny. Got a little. Somebody hosted the stream.
Nice.
So, and BFG Sloth, a lot of things up there. Thank you for joining as well. So let's talk a little bit about should we measure an athlete's greatness? Oi, hey. I love it. Manny, thank you, Manny, for joining.
Unity Gaming.
Thank you for joining. Are we going to measure championships as how great a player is? And you are first this week, so you get to argue first. Oh, big shake new. Okay.
Yeah, see, that's a little general. So,
Okay.
not the store, but
The Dollar General, yeah.
Well, there was a convenience store,
So,
a little general.
so we've had this argument in the past.
Yeah.
And we do it when we do our pick and roll. A lot of times you judge players by championships and kind of how they, how many championships they've won. So I am gonna help you here. I am gonna mention some names. You tell me if they're great players or not. How's
Okay,
that?
let's play that game. That sounds like a game I want to play.
Ernie Banks.
Wait, is he a great player?
Yeah, one of the all-time greats. 2,000.
I'm going to say
25.
Good, not great.
Good. Over 2,500 hits.
Yeah, I know.
1,600 RBIs, 512 home runs, 2-time MVP, 14-time All-Star. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
No championship, no. Elgin Baylor.
Yes.
No championships.
No championships.
27.4 points per game, 13.5 rebounds, 16-time All-Star, 10-time All-Pro, All-NBA. Not bad, right? Barry Bonds.
You know my thoughts on Barry Bonds.
I know. His numbers are phenomenal.
Take away like 480 home runs.
All right. Scratch him. No championships.
No championships.
Ty Cobb.
That's a tough one.
366 lifetime batting average in 24 seasons.
Yeah.
366.
No championships.
No championship. MVP, Triple Crown, 12-time batting title.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough.
It's tough. It's Ty Cobb. He's one of the greatest ball players of all time.
Yeah, but
it's not an argument. He doesn't need to win a championship.
See, the thing is, when you put players in order, it's different. It's different.
Would you put Freddie Freeman ahead of him?
No.
Okay. Freddie Freeman's won a championship. Ty Cobb.
I know.
Okay. Karl Malone. 25 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, third all-time in the NBA in scoring.
I wouldn't say he's great.
36,928.
I know. He's got a lot of points.
Dan Marino.
That's a tough one.
147 and 93 in his career. 61,361 yards, 420 touchdowns.
Yeah, I would say he's a great player. And I know he never won one. Yeah.
He's seventh all time in the passing yards. And you know, all the guys ahead of him are all from the current era other than Brett Favre.
Right.
But
see, this is the point. That's why I said, that the way the face-off you're asking is a little general.
Okay.
And I can't give you a definitive one way or the other because there are
to
players that are great that it doesn't matter because Ted Williams is a great player and
that was my next player.
Yes.
That is phenomenal.
But
344.
he never won one, and so it doesn't always dictate, your greatness, but that solidifies you
It
in an
helps.
order.
It
It
helps.
solidifies you in an order.
It helps. But my point would be this: sometimes, as great teams, you have great players
Yeah.
with great teams that win championships. Sometimes you just have great players who just don't have a good
I
team.
will throw out this name that we've already talked about today, Paul Goldschmidt. He was in Arizona for the beginning of his career. He wasn't going to win a World Series over there because that was post, Randy
Yeah.
Johnson kind of time. It's a different if it's a different game now.
Okay. Okay. Let me just say this. Ted Williams on base percentage 482?
Yeah, I
all
know
time.
it's insane.
He's played 19 years. He missed 3 years because of the military.
Right.
In all 19 years, he was an All-Star.
Yeah.
All 19. Isn't that insane?
It is.
Phenomenal player. No
Yeah.
championship.
One of the best all time.
No championship.
Might be the best pure hitter.
Could be. Ty Cobb's pretty far up there, though. 366 batting average.
There's like
Just not
6
good.
teams back then, so I mean,
Oh, here we go. Now it's how many teams?
no, like every era has a thing, Every era.
So the reason why we did the face-off, let's bring up the next gentleman because we're going to talk some college football. NCAA football. Kirby Smart just signed
Where
a
is he?
10-year,
Oh, he's over there.
100. Yeah, he's over there. The beach is that way. 10 years, $112.5 million extension with the University of Georgia.
Yeah.
He won a championship last year.
Yeah,
Hence, he got paid.
he did. A lot.
Right? Do you agree with the move?
Well, I agree with them giving him an extension.
10-year extension?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Do you agree with the money?
I never agree with the money.
So he's 66-15 in his career with Georgia, 1-1 in the college football championship. So he won one last year. He's now signed through 2031.
Yeah.
Do you realize he's the highest paid coach in college football now?
Yeah.
Okay. LSU Brian Kelly, $9 million. Texas A&M's Jim Fisher, $9 million. Clemson's Dabo Sweeney, $9.3 million. Nick Saban, $10.6 million. He's making more than all those guys.
Yeah, I'm not saying the money is right. I never agree with the money that's being thrown around in sports today.
I think the problem I have with it is how's he getting paid more than Nick Saban?
Well, the problem I have with it is this is where all the money is going that the college is making instead of, spreading the wealth around. You know what I'm saying? This is the problem I have with it. This is a college, okay? I'm sorry, it's more than just football. And the college cannot look at it like, oh, well, because they're the breadwinner, we're going to just give them all the money.
Well,
that
this
the
is what
school
happens.
makes.
College football makes a lot of money for these universities. So
Right, yeah.
protects the athletic departments because that money's going there. But that's why your tuitions go up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because we got to pay for this coach now. And then on top of it, we keep talking about these super conferences. SEC right now, 4 of the top 5 highest paid coaches are all in the SEC.
Yeah.
This is where we're at. Like, it's just all condensed into one conference. And now you're going to have conferences merge. These coaches get paid more if they can win in that conference. And it ends up the students, the paying students, it ends up costing them more because now they've got to pay these massive salaries for these coaches.
Okay, so what's coming down the road, Eric, is what you don't want. A lot of these smaller schools are just not going to be able to compete anymore.
Exactly.
And they're going to fold up their tents. And then what's on the horizon is just these conferences are just going to do their playoffs and there won't be any national championship, so to speak. They'll have their own championship and then we'll be right back to square one where everybody's doing their bowl games and we don't know who the actual winner is.
Yeah. It's going to be a shame. I don't like the moves. I don't like the amounts of money being paid to these
No,
coaches.
I
think
don't.
it's getting a
I
little out
don't.
of control. And then you got guys like Brian Kelly, who was with Notre Dame, who just left for more money.
Yeah.
You go to a better conference, more money, but you really haven't won anything. What have you won? You're making $9 million for what reason?
Yeah.
Unreal. We're going to talk some NHL, my friend. And I've asked you to allow me to go first in this because you are my hockey guy, my guru, the knower of all, and I want to impress you. I want to blow your mind away today with my hockey insight on Matthew Tkachuk, who looks like will be traded by the Calgary Flames, almost definitely unable to work out a contract. So you think about his numbers last season: 42 goals, 62 assists, a plus 57. Obviously lost Johnny Gaudreau. It looks like Calgary's just going to clean house and go there. So what I did was, which teams would make the most sense for Matthew Tkachuk to go to? All right. And what I'm going to do for you, Ron, is I am going to start with the smart moves, the it's not going to happen, the moves where they have cap room, but there's no way. And then I'm going to go with a stretch one. All right. So the smart moves. Dallas Stars. They're 11.4 million under the cap. Their left winger right now is Jamie Benn. He's 33. He's making 9.5 million. He was 18 goals, 28 assists, a minus 17 last season. You're talking about production, what Tkachuk could bring. They probably could do something with Ben and move him along, a productive player, but not. Obviously, he's up in age. You're going for a 24-year-old Matthew Tkachuk. Makes sense to me. Stars are contenders. They're in the playoffs. We know they're a playoff team. The New York Islanders, who struggled last year, but we know they're a playoff team as well. 11.1 million under the cap. Their left winger, Josh Bailey, he's 33 as well. So you talk about an age, only making 5 million. Easy to move that kind of contract. 14 goals, 30 assists, a minus 7. Again, you think about production. To me, Tkachuk makes sense here. Team that we talked about making a lot of moves, the Detroit Red Wings. 10.2 million under the cap right now. Left winger is Jacob Verana. He's 26. So a young player making 5.2 million, 13 goals, 6 assists, a minus 8 last season. Looked like he missed a lot of games though. So maybe from an injury standpoint, but again, if you're talking about apples to oranges, right? We're gonna go with Tkachuk over him. Not gonna happen. Although they have the money. New Jersey Devils, 9.5 million under the cap. So to me, I'm thinking Kachuk's a $9 million if you get my drift, about a $9 million a year. They just signed Palat. It wouldn't make sense for them at this point to get another left winger and pay him $9 million. So I can't see that happening. Could still happen, but I don't feel like that'd be a good move. Teams that have the room, but there's no way. Anaheim might the Ducks, 30.7 million. We already know what they're at. Arizona Coyotes, 23 million under the cap. They're not going to have. Buffalo Sabres, 18.6, still in that transition of are we going to compete or not. And the Winnipeg Jets, 14 million under the cap. I can't see him going to those teams because I think they're all in a rebuild mode. Here's my stretch, though. This is where he should go. It's not only good for him, it's phenomenal for the organization. The Ottawa Senators, 11.6 million under the cap. Who's their left winger, you ask? Brady Tkachuk, his younger brother, 22. Now you're talking about the two Tkachuks for the next 10 years on your team. Obviously, they've played together as brothers. So one of them can move to right wing. And to me, it makes the most sense. Go to Ottawa, build that up. Look, draft picks, couple players, they throw it in there. I think, and that we already said the Ottawa Senators are really trying to make some moves. This would ultimately put the icing on the cake for me. I did some research. I felt like, look, I wanted to just get this out first. How'd I do?
You did pretty good. You
Thank
did
you.
pretty good. And I'll tell you, I have 3 teams written down on my notes here. The first one being Detroit.
Right? They got the money.
Yes, Vrana is there. But you move him to the second line and you put Kachuk on the first line, and you got yourself a contender right here because they have a lot of good centermen. They have Dylan Larkin on that first line, and then they have Andrew Kopp that they just signed. So he's probably going to center the second line. So I could see you want Kachuk on Dylan Larkin's line because of the size, because you have Kopp on the second line. So you don't want to put them both on the same line. The second team I had on the list, Ottawa Senators. Ottawa Senators. Because of the fact, well, I don't know if you put them on the same line, because this team is going to be two lines deep. No matter what. If you add Kachuk, you're probably going to have a third line that can score some goals. Obviously, you're going to put Matthew on the first line, and you put
Brady.
his brother Brady, yeah, on the second line because of the talent level. Which
Brady 67 points last year.
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like no matter what, you're going to put him with the player he was with, and then you put Matthew Kachuk with DeBrincat and Giroux. So you put the three newcomers all on one line, and that's a whole lot of eggs in that basket.
And I'm talking. Think about the media.
And
the Kachuk brothers.
Then you can start bringing home that President's Trophy for the best record in the league.
So
and if you add to that Klingberg from Dallas, then you win the Stanley Cup. So, but my third team was Columbus.
Oh, okay.
Now, that was I wrote that down moments before Patrick Laine just signed an extension, so he's not going anywhere. So that probably rules out Kachuk going to Columbus. But how great would that be? Kachuk reunited with Johnny Hockey.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's still a possibility.
Yeah,
still a
great
possibility.
Point. Great point.
So yeah,
we'll see where it goes. We'll see. Let's talk a little Boston Bruins real quick. How concerned should we be about the Patrice Bergeron, David Krejci not signing? Again, we talked about in the past few weeks them trying to make some moves. It's been about 2 weeks now. We haven't heard much. Boston Bruins are like $4 million under the cap right now. It's not enough to sign both these players.
Yeah.
How concerned should we be?
Not very, because it's going to happen. It's just how it's going to happen. So there's a lot of ways that they can do this. Okay. First of all, if you put players on long-term IR that are going to be missing at least 10 games and out for 24 days, you can do that and sign everybody and get them all under the cap, which that would be Marchand, Grzelcyk, and oh my God, I can't even think of his name now, McAvoy.
Yeah, who are all going to miss significant time at the beginning of this.
So you could do that, sign them, and everything's fine. But when they come back, in order to get them back, you have to then shed some salary, and then teams are going to have you over a barrel. So you don't really want to do that. So there is the option of having a bonus-laden contract, and the Bruins have done this in the past. So they did it with, oh my God, I can't think of the player. Iginla. So they signed him to like a $1.5 million deal, but then he had like bonuses kicked in. They did it with Chara as well. So if he played 10 games, then $3.5 million bonus kicks in, and it's like, so you can do that. The problem with that is the next season you get whacked with a penalty.
The dead cap, yeah.
And that ends up hitting you for the next year. Then, when it comes time to sign Bergeron again, then you're really up against it. So they don't want to really do that. So that gives them one really other option, and that is to trade some contracts. And here's how they can do it. You trade Mike Foligno, like we had said, $3.8 million. You have a guy in your system that plays left wing, Una Kapanen. He's an up and comer. He can do the same job. Like really, like Foligno was kind of pointless to get, and he's way overpaid. So you can get him under $1 million. There's 2.8 right there. Noshik. Anything can replace him. Literally anything can replace him. And they've got two guys that can do that easily. And that is McLaughlin, who came up, during the season, a young star. He played very well. And, of course, Studnicka can center that fourth line. So that will save you $1 million. Craig Smith. Now, I like his game, but he is certainly underperformed here in Boston. He's making $3.1 million. Trade him, replace him with Oscar Steen, and you save yourself $3 million there. And then there's Mike Riley. Little tougher situation because he is injured, so that might be a little tough. I think you can bite the bullet and just get him out of here because you just signed Arcan. And frankly, having 5 left-handed shots on 6 defensemen is ludicrous, and you can't have that. So they need to get rid of one of those guys anyway, so Mike Riley is probably on his way out of town, just trying to find an adequate trade for it. And you place him with Arcan or Zaboral. And then you save all that money. You save $9 million right there.
Which gives you the ability to sign the two of them.
Absolutely.
All right, so let me ask you this. 2 quick pointers before we move on. Is there a likelihood one of these guys doesn't re-sign with or sign with the Boston Bruins?
I highly doubt it. I think they're both going to re-sign. I think the agreement is already there. They just have to make these moves.
All right, second question real quick. When does the youth movement start to happen in Boston? Like we're redoing a lot of these.
This year.
You feel like this is but signing these 2 guys who are obviously aging.
Yep.
That's at what point do you just say, okay, well, we're going to have to bite the bullet and just go young?
Well, see, this is the thing. So you're going to sign Bergeron and Krejci. Those are going to be 3 of your centers with Charlie Coyle. So that gives you, time to, first of all, you're going to have Frederick, in the lineup. So he's already a young player. And he still has a lot to learn. He's a centerman, and he's going to learn a lot from these 3 guys. Then you look at those names that I just mentioned, Studnicka and McLaughlin. Those are 2 more centers that could be the next guys. And they got some others, like Lysell and stuff like that, coming up through the pipeline that are probably a year away. Look, they got some good talent. And signing these guys are important to make that talent, play the way they need them to play. Okay. You're going to learn from the best with Bergeron and Krejci.
Okay.
So,
all right, I agree. Okay, it's pick and roll time. Thank you for your hockey insight there. Pick and roll, my friend. This week, we decided to rank these players who 29 years ago, so episode 29 on the block, were the MLB leaders in home runs. So we're going to rank them today. That's going to be
29 years ago?
29 years ago.
Wow.
Barry Bonds, Juan Gonzalez, Ken Griffey Jr., Frank Thomas, and Dave Justice. You are first this week, my friend. So you give the incorrect list, and then I will let the audience know what the correct list should be.
Your list went in the order that you sent me the message. That's your list. I already know your list.
Okay.
Maybe with the exception of one player. My list is almost exactly that,
Okay.
but
See
you
what
know
I-
there is a penalty coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Barry Bonds penalty as every
Yeah,
time
there's a
he's on
penalty
one of these
coming.
lists. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so number 5, I have Juan Gonzalez. And I know
Okay.
you have him at number 4. So Juan Gonzalez, with the 434 home runs, 295 average, 2 MVPs, 3-time All-Star, and 6-time Silver Slugger to go along with a whole bunch of other numbers, 1,900 plus hits.
Hmm.
He's really a good player, really good player. Um, you know, and the only reason why I put him at number 5 is because I put Dave Justice at number 4. Even though Gonzalez has more home runs, better batting average, Dave
More home.
Justice does have 2 World Series though.
No, I can't with you. See, this is where our argument.
And I know that those numbers look really nice for Juan Gonzalez, but 2 World Series looks really nice for Dave
20
Justice.
points higher on a
And
batting average.
and he did it with
400 more hits.
900 less at bats.
Okay.
So he did win a Rookie of the Year too, by the way, Dave Justice.
Okay.
3 All-Star games, same as Juan Gonzalez. 2 Silver Sluggers, not,
Well,
6 for Juan Gonzalez, but,
Yeah.
305 home runs, 279 rather batting average. Look, he wasn't a masher like Juan Gonzalez was. Like, he was just power. But there was the intangibles with Dave Justice that I really liked, and he was the leader of that team. Between him and Chipper Jones, Dave Justice was a big part of those championships, and that dynasty that almost was.
Yeah, I think he won one with the Braves, one with the Yankees.
Yes, yeah. So, number 3, I think the top 3 were the top 3. Clear, and that's not really even close.
Okay.
But the next 3 are pretty close in my eyes.
Yeah.
Frank Thomas, number 3, 521 home runs, 301 lifetime batting average, which is phenomenal.
Great hitter.
2,400 plus hits, 2 MVPs, 5 All-Stars, 1 batting title, and 4 Silver Sluggers. The thing that kind of knocked him down was a lot of his career he was the DH.
Yeah.
And
no gloves,
it's like
all around play.
Yeah, and like those numbers though, they don't lie.
No,
they don't lie. And that leaves the top 2. And like I said, there was going to be a penalty because I actually subtracted 268 home runs from number 2. Barry Bonds, I put number 2. And look, when I look at the numbers, it is completely lopsided. Completely lopsided. Looking at the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
762 home runs.
Yeah.
298 batting average. Now, what I didn't say was their WAR. Now, Ken Griffey Jr. had the biggest WAR of the rest of the players, 83.8. Barry Bonds had a 162.8. Okay, so I look at that number, and now I'm more convinced than ever that he was juicing. Convinced than ever. And, and I just know from a certain point, those 73 home runs, those are tainted. That was tainted. And I'm sorry, I cannot. From that point on, I subtracted those home runs. So that was my penalty, putting him number 2. I still don't think he attains all these numbers without it. I really don't. So number 1, I have the kid, Ken Griffey Jr. 630 home runs, 284 lifetime average, one MVP. And I know you're going to give the MVPs to Barry Bonds, and that's fine.
Seven.
One, yeah, I know. 13 All Stars, 10 Gold Gloves.
It was
That
phenomenal.
is what a great player. Like, he's a great player. And 7 Silver Sluggers. It's a travesty he played for Seattle and Cincinnati.
Never won a
Oh,
championship.
God damn.
Never won a
Damn.
championship.
But
All
he's number one. I think he's probably my Mount Rushmore of baseball.
Okay. It's fair to say he was a great player. He really was.
Yeah.
What he was able to do, and it just
Yeah.
he was exciting. He was exciting to watch.
Yep.
So not bad. We did definitely had a few different though. I went Dave Justice at 5.
Right. I knew that.
And I just couldn't separate 400 more hits, 130 more home runs, 400 more RBIs.
I know.
And I also
But I had to give him.
Juan Gonzalez won a home run derby.
Yeah, I don't care about home run derbies.
So
less.
In the grand scheme of things, I was just saying they were home run leaders that year. They all won a home run derby except for Dave Justice.
Yeah.
Every other one of these guys won at least 8 home run derbies.
I could care
Ken
less
Griffey
about that.
Jr., 3 home run derbies.
I know. The only one to win 3, by the way.
Yeah. So then I went Juan Gonzalez at 4, right?
Yep.
Frank Thomas at 3. I agree with you. Of the last 2,
Yep.
he was kind of, again, didn't have enough. I still went Ken Griffey Jr. second. And
I know you did because those numbers are ridiculous.
I'm not until you show me a positive test for Barry Bonds.
I'm just saying. I just know, and I'm penalizing him. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says.
12 Silver Sluggers.
Yeah.
He still had 8 Gold Gloves.
Yeah, I know he did.
All right, help him there.
Kept him in the game this long.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, come on! Look at his giant-sized head.
Oh boy!
Like really?
All right. So
everybody knows he juiced.
As usual, Barry Bonds should have been number 1.
He wasn't going to be. Look, I was going to put him.
Oh, I know without a doubt.
You thought I was going to put him number 5, though.
I was surprised you even put him as high as you did. Yes, I really am.
If I do recall, the last time we had him on one of these lists, I left him off the list.
Yeah, I think you did. You added somebody else.
Yeah.
All right. So let's bring up our predictions, my friend, because it is prediction time, and it's getting tighter. The race is getting closer. One win separates us. Both at 57% right now. 205 games we have picked.
Yeah.
Pretty good. 57%. That's not
and I've just been toying with you all year.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
So if you guys are joining now and you'd like to add your name to the list, let us know as we pick.
Let's go.
As we
Jim
pick.
Boy.
But, we are starting. You are first this week. So first game, Major League Baseball, 7:22, Houston Astros at the Seattle Mariners. It's a 3-game set.
Come on, people. Let's put your predictions on this game.
So
Manny,
who do you have?
I'm going to take Houston.
I also took Houston.
There's no way Seattle's keeping this going. Not against Houston.
It's gonna run out. And look, I think Houston knows this is a West matchup.
Oh yeah.
We don't want it. We want to gain some more ground, and they're playing great baseball.
Yeah.
All right. So 7:22, we got the Toronto Blue Jays at the Boston Red Sox. I feel like the Sox have come down to earth and are what we expected them to be. So I'm going Toronto.
You think?
I'm going Toronto.
Think? I'm also going Toronto. You think?
I think it's all starting to come to fruition now with the Boston Red Sox. 7:26, we got WNBA action. The Las Vegas Aces at the Chicago Sky.
I don't like going with all away teams, and I can see that's where this is heading. But I'm going to go the Aces. I'm
going to Aces as well. And I looked at it. Look, the Aces are playing good, even though Chicago Sky, defending champions, they're playing much better. But the Aces have been so good this year. 7:28, the Seattle Storm at the Connecticut Sun. Both playing very well, but Connecticut's made a lot of moves, got a lot of players in now. They're trying to make that run. I'm going Connecticut here at home. Yeah, I am also going Connecticut. This is getting
same list this week.
So 7:23, the Orlando City Soccer Club at the Philadelphia Union, Major League Soccer. Who do you got?
I got whoever you don't have.
Oh, you can't, dude. You made me. Well, I picked ahead of time. Just pick your team. Pick your team. It's your pick. You trying to tie this thing up next week?
I'm gonna go Philadelphia.
I also went Philadelphia. So we
Can
will not
we-
have a change next week.
No, let's have another game. There's got to be another game.
There's no
Is
game.
there a fight? Somebody.
There's no fights. Listen, we're still trying to get over 60%. So either way,
Come on,
we need to
man.
keep winning.
No, I want another one. I want
We need to
another
keep
one.
winning. We need to keep winning. So if you're enjoying our show, check us out every Friday night, 6 p.m.
Wait, did I want to change one?
No,
I want to change that
We had
Toronto
our ticket.
Boston.
we have our ticker. You cannot change it now.
Yes,
You
I
have your
can.
ticker. You have your ticker on the bottom. Follow us all these different social medias. If you'd like to sponsor the show, ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. We will put your business up on our screen, read off any of the advertising that you'd like us to have. We can publish it on our websites as well. So don't get upset. It's okay. But there's so many different ways we can grow. We've got thousands of followers. We're being viewed all over the world, all over the country.
It's a protest.
So many different ways to follow us, get your business out there as well. Check us out if you're in Southeast Connecticut, SEC TV, Public Access Channel 12. We're on Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. It is a rebroadcast of our live Friday show. If you're enjoying what you're seeing and you're watching us there now, check us out Friday, 6 p.m. So excited to have everybody here. So I want to thank everybody that joined today. We had a lot of good, oh my God, Jim Boy. I would assume that's what OMG stands for. We also had BFG Sloth, Manny, Unity. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We appreciate all of you guys following us. Check us out on Twitch as well, T-Smooth73, Rhode Island Broadcasting. Subscribe, like us, follow us there as well. Ron, as we normally do, we end our show on a final thought, and our final thought doesn't necessarily have to be about anything sports related. It could be about anything going on in the world today. You are first, my friend, with your final thoughts.
Well, first of all, I'm surprised you didn't mention our dynasties.
We just had our very first episode of Sports Unfolded Dynasties, the top teams, 92 through 95 Dallas Cowboys. Great show. Check it out on YouTube or on our Facebook pages. Really cool, really fun. We're going to continue to do more of those. Looking for people to write in, let us know what other teams you'd like us to cover. So if there's a team that you'd like us to cover, and it doesn't have to be just professional, it could be college sports as well, we will definitely check it out and see if we can do a show about it. So
Very good.
Yes.
I want to say, I guess, Aaliyah Boston from South Carolina.
Okay.
Was nominated for Best College Athlete for Women on the ESPYs.
Yeah.
That other network, not Rhode Island Broadcasting.
Not the good
Well, they made a mistake and said, that they didn't invite her to the ESPYs. And because their thinking was, well, we're not going to be airing that category, which is wrong, because if you're gonna air the men's, then you should air the women's.
Agree.
So that's the first problem. And then after a big uproar, they decided, oh, we'll invite you. And then she declined on the late invitation because too late. You already made the mistake. And they didn't realize how much this was going to affect, ESPN. And they got hit pretty hard with a lot of people mentioning it. And I just want to say, like I mentioned last night on Pop Ascension, Aaliyah, if you want to come on a show, come on Sports Unfolded. We
Love
would
to
be
have you.
more than happy to accommodate you.
Absolutely.
More than happy.
Absolutely.
So, ESPN, you should be ashamed. Look, when you have a big panel of people making decisions, you know, how you came to that decision is a travesty
Makes sense.
because more than one person was making these decisions and you came up with that. That's a joke. That's laughable.
Yep.
So there's something wrong with that decision making and that process. So ESPN should be ashamed, even though they are forefronts on a lot of issues. They messed up big time on this one.
No, agree. Greatly said. Greatly said. And again, we'd love to have you. We'll tweet that out to her as well if she'd like to join us for sure. We definitely like to have her. But great point. Great point. How does that get missed? My final thought is actually about Bo Jackson. And we think about Bo Jackson, one of the probably first and greatest two-way players, right? Him, Dion. And this was a story I just read about. So I thought it was fitting that at age 60, right, we think about where he's at. But he's a father and a grandfather. And he decided with someone who's remaining anonymous that the unfortunate tragedy in Uvalde, Texas, with the 19 students and the two teachers that were brutally massacred by a coward. There's no other way to say it. He paid for all the funeral expenses for all of those students and teachers. And he said, and I want to quote it, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but he's a father of three and a grandfather. And it's not right that parents have to bury their kids. It's just not right. So he realized the situation and understood that if it was him in his own personal way, that it affected him deeply, just based on the fact that he had kids. And I just thought it was, listen, we talk about these athletes and we talk again, we've debated on the show about money, but when they actually take their money and put it towards a cause like this, that they didn't have to do. He didn't have to do that. Again, he's not from that area. It's not anything that personally you say, oh, he played in that college, school, somewhere. He did it because he felt it was the right thing to do for those parents who had to bury their children way too early. So Bo Jackson, I commend you. What a great story by him. What a true hero. I would call him a hero because those parents had enough to deal with during that whole thing, and to know that, look, you know what, that's one less thing I really have to focus on. I thought that was great on his part. That's my final thought. But I want to thank everybody. Oli, thanks for joining. Hope you feel better. I'm just getting over it myself. We are on every Friday night at 6 p.m. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Join in. We are fan interactive. We would love to chat with all our fans. We talk sports, but we'll talk anything. You bring it up, we'll talk about it. Ron, it's been fun. Great show today, man.
Absolutely.
Great
Absolutely.
show.
Except for the fact that we picked all the same.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
No, it's not all right.
But I want to thank you for your time today. I want to thank everybody
Of
that joined
course.
us live, and we will see you next week.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. All we want in this world, like we say every week, peace.
Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.